For weeks after the court returned her children, Emily lived in a strange space between relief and fear. During the day, she smiled for Liam and Ava, helped with homework, cooked dinner, and tucked them into bed. But every night, after the kids fell asleep, she sat awake at the kitchen table staring at the door, waiting for another knock that she prayed would never come. She thought the worst was over. She thought the nightmare had ended. But nightmares don't end cleanly. Sometimes they return in ways you never expect. One morning, 2 months after she got the kids back, Emily received a letter in the mail. When she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. It wasn't from Child Protective Services. It was from her landlord. They were being evicted. Emily's heart dropped. She stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the paper as if it were written in another language. She had paid her rent on time. She had never missed a month. But at the bottom of the letter was a line that explained everything. Due to ongoing legal concerns regarding the previous CPS investigation, she felt the world tilt beneath her. Even though she had been cleared, even though the court had ruled she did nothing wrong, the stain of the investigation lingered. It followed her like a shadow. The system had taken her children once. Now it was taking their home. Emily folded the notice with shaking hands and walked into the living room. Liam was building a tower of blocks. Ava was drawing a picture of the three of them holding hands. "Mom," Ava said happily, "look, it's us." Emily forced a smile. "It's beautiful, sweetheart." But inside, her heart was cracking all over again. She spent the next week searching for an apartment. She called every landlord in the area. Each time, the conversation started the same way, polite, friendly, but once they ran her background and saw the CPS case, everything changed. "Sorry, ma'am, we already filled that unit. I'm afraid we can't approve your application. No availability at this time." She knew they were lying. She could hear it in their voices. No one wanted to rent to a mother who had once been under investigation, even if she had done nothing wrong. Emily cried quietly in the bathroom so the kids wouldn't hear. As the eviction deadline approached, Emily finally found a landlord willing to give her a chance. A small, run-down apartment in a rougher neighborhood. It wasn't much. The walls needed paint. The floors creaked. The heaters barely worked. But it was somewhere for her children to sleep. They moved in on a rainy Friday. Liam tried to be brave, but Emily could see the confusion in his eyes. Ava asked why they had to leave their old home. "We just needed a change," Emily said softly. "Sometimes life takes us somewhere new." She didn't tell them the truth. She didn't want to burden them with the weight she carried. The next weeks were hard. The neighborhood was noisier, rougher. The schools were different. The kids had trouble adjusting. And through it all, Emily lived with a constant fear that someone might report her again. She triple-checked everything: cleanliness, schedules, groceries, routines. One wrong assumption, she feared, and the nightmare could start all over. Then, one afternoon, as Emily was coming home from work, she found a note taped to her door. It read, "We need to speak with you about concerns regarding your children. Please expect a home visit." Her vision blurred. She felt faint. It was happening again. She rushed inside and locked the door, her hands shaking violently. Liam and Ava were sitting at the table coloring. Emily sank onto the couch, her breath shallow, panic clawing at her throat. She couldn't go through it again. She couldn't lose them again, not even for a day. She called her attorney immediately. He answered on the third ring. "Emily, slow down," he said. "Tell me exactly what the note said." She read aloud, her voice trembling. "Do not panic yet," he said. "Sometimes these notices are routine follow-ups after an old case closes. But you must prepare." "Prepare?" Emily whispered. "Prepare for what?" "For them to look for any small reason to reopen your case." The room felt like it was closing in on her. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Why can't they leave us alone?" "Because once the system touches you," he said quietly, "it rarely lets go." Emily hung up the phone and stared at her children. Ava was giggling. Liam was humming to himself. They looked safe. They looked happy. And yet someone, somewhere, was questioning that again. Emily cleaned the apartment from top to bottom. She organized every cupboard, every drawer. She checked the fridge 3 times. She laid out the children's school records, medical records, and backpacks neatly on the table. But the fear wouldn't leave her. That night, she tucked Liam and Ava into bed. She kissed their foreheads, but she couldn't sleep. She sat by their door, watching them breathe, terrified that soon someone might try to take them in the middle of the night. The next morning came the knock she dreaded. Slow, heavy, familiar. She froze. She felt herself transported back to the moment they first took her children. The screams, the tears, the feeling of helplessness. The knock came again. Emily walked slowly to the door, every step feeling like she was moving underwater. When she opened it, a single caseworker stood there. Not the man in the suit, not the woman with the clipboard. Someone new. "Good morning, Miss Thompson," the worker said gently. "We're here for follow-up regarding your previous case." Emily's breath trembled. "My children are fine," she whispered. "Please don't take them. Please." "We're not here to remove them," the worker said softly. "We just need to talk." Emily let her in, praying her legs wouldn't give out. The caseworker looked around the apartment. She checked the children's room, their school reports, and the fridge. She watched as the kids played quietly on the floor. For the first time since this nightmare began, Emily noticed something different. The caseworker didn't look judgmental. She didn't write rapidly. She didn't treat Emily like a criminal. After an hour, the caseworker closed her folder and sighed. "Ms. Thompson, I need to tell you something." Emily's heart stopped. She waited for the worst. "I reviewed your entire case. You never should have gone through what you did." Emily felt tears burn her eyes. "And," the caseworker continued, "this notice wasn't because of a new allegation. It was a mandatory closure review. Your case will be formally closed today. Permanently." Emily gasped, covering her mouth as sobs shook her. "So it's over?" she whispered. "It's over. No more check-ins. No more reports. No more visits. You and your children are free from the system." Emily collapsed into a chair, crying into her hands. The caseworker placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're a good mother," she said softly. "And now the system finally recognizes that." When the door closed behind the worker, Emily broke down, completely relief flooding her so powerfully she couldn't speak. Liam ran to her. Ava wrapped her arms around her. Emily held them so tightly it hurt. For the first time in a long time, she truly felt free. But deep inside her heart, a final question lingered. If the system could take her children so easily, how many other mothers were still fighting to get theirs back? And Emily knew her story wasn't just her own anymore. IT was the story of thousands. But is this the end? Subscribe to get notified when we publish Chapter 3.